So now, of course, almost immediately it's coming out that the government knew about these suspects beforehand for quite some time, yet these attacks were still able to take place. The massive NSA surveillance wasn't able to stop these attacks. Of course, it's the same old story, and instantly we're seeing calls for over-militarization, saying that situations like this call for an over-militarization of the police, more NSA surveillance, when indeed it didn't actually stop these attacks from happening. But it's just, that's what it is. You use these crises to call for more tyranny, and that's what we're seeing, trying to keep everyone in this state of constant fear over these terrorists while they're not actually doing anything to stop it. Now, this is coming out of the British Security Service, of course, taking advantage of this hysteria. This is the Director General of MI5, Andrew Parker. He's warning that Khorasan will soon strike. This Khorasan, this elusive group that just sort of popped up out of nowhere. He says the MI5 boss told members of the Royal United Services Institute that a group of core al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria is planning mass casualty attacks against the West. So the likely targets will be transit systems or iconic targets to inflict large-scale loss of life. So this is the aim, keeping people scared of terrorist groups everywhere. Could they stop these potential jihadis beforehand? Absolutely. One of the ways they could do that is by not arming the rebels there, because like we've reported before, these arms are just getting into the wrong hands. And here we have these suspects who spent some time in Yemen are apparently able to get their hands on some RPGs. Now, this is a high-level military source in France who's associated with the French National Police, confirmed exclusively to InfoWars that at least one rocket-propelled grenade was detonated inside the Charlie Hebdo building. The French National Police kept quiet about the RPG to keep from scaring the public, and it also, of course, explains why they released very few images from inside the office. So the suspects were known to the government officials for years, able to travel from Yemen, get their hands on some RPGs, but of course are never caught and are allowed to carry out these attacks. We've seen this so many times before, time and time again. And when these suspects were first identified, there were conflicting reports of if they had been to Yemen, had they not, and then, of course, now it comes out that they did, and now they have ties to the Pentagon. What else did we know about these suspects?
I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com with an update on the Charlie Hebdo attacks. The Charlie Hebdo massacre suspects were on the U.S. no-fly list for years, and that they trained with al-Qaeda in Yemen. It says the two suspects behind the Charlie Hebdo massacre in Paris have been on a U.S. no-fly list for years, a U.S. official said. According to different revelations, one of the suspects trained with al-Qaeda-linked militants in Yemen. Sharif and Saeed, French-born sons of Algerian parents, were both logged in the U.S. government's Terrorist Identities Data Mart Environment System, which is called TIDE, a database on known or suspected international terrorists. U.S. counterterrorism sources said on condition of anonymity. So stay tuned for more reports. I'll keep you updated throughout the day. I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com.